Good afternoon.
Hi, sir.
Hi. Thank you for joining. I hope the others will join us soon. Ayan, it's Joshua. Okay. Let's wait for a few minutes now while I set up my deck. Yeah. Yeah, we'll start in a minute or two. Okay. Others are still trickling in. Okay, sige, let's start na. No? I don't want to waste your time. No? Oh, sige, the others can probably follow. No? Again, thank you for joining. Um, I hope you guys had a good break, no? Good Easter Holy Week break, no? So it's back to the grind. But I'm sure some of you studied naman during the break, no? Maybe. So again, thank you for joining. We'll finish Module 4 by this evening. Yeah, so on to Module 5, no? In the coming weeks. No? Okay, a few more announcements. So again, I'll give you time maybe in terms of pacing. Now, maybe finish Module 4 by the end of the month, cover Module 5 the last 2 weeks of classes. Um, yeah, so Module 5 is really short, no? Pero we'll try to do the next synchronous session that we'll have. We'll try to do an interactive exercise, no? Taking off from our lecture tonight. No? The role of private sector. I want you guys to actually develop mini project concepts during class based on Module 5. No? So if you can already sort of start Module 5 no, gradually, that would be better. No? So as you guys voted last time, no, so we're converting next week into optional group consultations for homework 2. No? Again, it's optional. In the past, no, the students found it useful. No? I mean, 20-25 minute sessions. No? Just to ask me things about your homework, ask for leads, ask if you're on the right track, present some ideas. pick my brain on the topic, etc., etc. So again, if your group has not yet signed up and you want to have a consultation, sign up there. No? I only saw one group, no? And the entire group doesn't have to be present. No? Can only be 2 or 3 of you. No? Doesn't have to be the entire group because we know naman, no? We have different schedules, no? Especially Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Although, to be honest, I mean, I'm scheduling it during class time, so there is really no excuse, no, for others unless they have bad connection. Pero yun lang, again, it's optional. I will lock the Google Doc sign-up sheet by April 26. So pag naisip niyo April 27, ay sir, pwede pa ba umabot? Sorry, hindi na because I gave you ample time. So reminder lang, no? So later on after class or during class, no, if there's a lull time, no, you can start signing up. No, I also included it in the announcements page. No? But once I post this deck in the recording tomorrow or by tonight, no, you can click on this, no, on the hyperlink here. Again, let me remind everyone. I mentioned this last week, no, but there are only a few of us. Especially for homework 2, no, I like this as a resource, no, the Arrancada Philippines, which is run by the American Chamber of Commerce. No, they really compile a lot of the useful business and economic news. No, so you go to this page, investphilippines.info / Arrancada, and especially for homework 2, no, you can use the search function, no. And they'll come up with good articles. Not from their own write-ups or press releases, but they curate from different sources. And as I mentioned, if you want a daily digest, daily curation of good, relevant, major business and economic news, take the time to sign up in the same website. They have like a news clips website. You can enter email address. It's a free service. I find it useful because I really don't have time to go over all of the newspapers. They do a good job of doing that for us. And they just pick out the major ones, the good ones, business and economic news. Sometimes medyo obvious lang yung bias nila in terms of politicians. But okay lang. That's forgivable. But if you want solid daily dose of good news, major news, I urge you to sign up. And I urge you guys to every day read the news. All right, there's only 10 of you, but in any case, here's an initial discussion of the FIO guidelines. I will post this also at the end of Module 5. This will be in tandem with your NSTP Big Kiss. And I discussed this with si Hila, si Ate Hila, Ma'am Hila for you guys, your formator for NSTP. So there are 4 sections for the final integrated output. I'll just run through this quickly. But I will also discuss this again in 2 weeks' time again. I'll post it also on Canvas for reference. So first, obviously, just a basic introduction, introduce the community and the partner institution. And really, I want you to going back to what we've learned in SOCSI 30. What are some of the issues and opportunities in the partner area? So don't, based on your online engagements, don't just focus on the weaknesses. Ano ba yung mga assets, opportunities in terms of the actors that are there, the natural endowments, for example, or whatnot that they have, so the opportunities as well. The second section is, again, going back to SOCSI 13 and Big Kiss, the frameworks and theories, you analyze the development issues in your assigned institution and community. You can do this via the income and non-income indicators, the SDGs. So bahala kayo. I just want to see that you're applying what we learned in this course when you're examining this. You can also do, and remember, again, the participatory approach in terms of surfacing issues, analyzing things. Maybe also it's good coming from them, combining it with some objective data and your expert analysis. Remember that three three-pronged funnel that we have. No? So remember that as well. So yeah, support your answers using the output you develop, no? Or any information from your online engagements. Kasi di pa siya face-to-face, diba? Section 3, sorry, when I copy-paste sometimes in PowerPoint or across applications, medyo it becomes unruly. No? So medyo weird yung formatting. Sorry about that. But I'm not a big formatting guy. So intervention naman, section 3 is all about intervention. I believe that you guys are doing or have done pet projects, no, to support the community. No? So examine your findings, no, about the community and the impact, no, if any already, no, of your output on the community. No? And what are the processes, procedures, or systems that they currently use, no? And how do they really contribute to the goals of the community or the institution that you're working with? And again, how does your output help address the issues you have discussed here in section 2? And again, going back to the first bullet here, no, if you've already seen some initial impacts or effects of what you've done, no, please write them down as well. No? That would be useful. And going beyond your pet project in NSTP Big Keys, no, the utang tracker, etc. No, again, it's like our CBMS thing, no. Based on the other issues that you saw, what other policy and programmatic recommendations can you propose, no? Both at the higher level, macro, or at the community level. So just think about them, no. Be more thoughtful, no? Kasi you can't solve all of their issues with your output. That's only solving one part or part of a part, diba? So medyo konti lang yun. But what about the other issues, no? Tell me what you think, no? What other recommendations should be done, no, to help address the issues, no? Both policy, program. Policy kasi is the rules, no? Mga laws, ordinances. Programs, yung actual programs, no? Tangible outputs, no? Like giving out something, training, etc. Could be the community level, or maybe there's a national policy or program that should be in place, no, that would include this community. And by the way, no, if you have questions about this later on, no, the last session before study days, no, I also convert that into an ask me anything thing. So you can also ask about the FIO if you want. I think that's that's 3 weeks from now. And section 4, and NSTP really wanted a reflection, no? You guys, a reflection from the group, no? What are the significant lessons you've learned from your community? And how do you see your discipline, no, both management and economics, contributing to sustainable development in the future? No? Maybe our lecture tonight, no, will help. And what are your common advocacies, no, in the group? No? And how can you contribute to sustainable development either now and or in the future, no? Or both. So that's the FIO. Now, if you have questions, don't worry. And if you forget, now I'll post this at the end of module 5. And I'll discuss this again next week just to emphasize these points. So here, again, format, I'm not particular about format. You can actually not follow this if you want. You can jumble them up to make it more cohesive. Single, double spaced, the usual font sizes, 11 or 12. Use the typical font sizes, wag lang Comic Sans perhaps, or handwriting. And the usual, no, Calibri, Helvetica, Calibri, Times New Roman, Arial. Some use, I like it, no, yung Hill Sans, for example, or Gil, I don't even know how it's pronounced. No? I initially wanted this just like homework 2, no, to be kept within 10 pages, pero sige, you have up to 15. But again, the shorter you can write, the better. Now, if you feel that you've already communicated what you needed to convey, don't force yourself. No, for me, punchy, shorter, direct to the point writing, but of course, capturing things, no, substantially, is better, no, than just being verbose. So again, references, format, APA, or any mainstream reference parenthetical notes and whatnot. Deadline to give you maximum time, May 26, 11:59 p.m. Classes, the assessment period technically ends May 27. The problem kasi ay we would have given you guys up to May 27 sana, but the submission of grades are are soon after May 27, June 2 or 3 yata. No? So parang we need time to check as well, especially me. I will only have that weekend to check, no? Because again, as I mentioned, I have work. No? This teaching is a part-time thing for me. I have my regular 8 to 5. So yeah. So please let me know if you have any questions, no? Or you can also ask si Ate Hila. No? We both agreed on this. No, I actually forgot. No, I think she wanted to join pala tonight's session. No? But you know, we both discussed this, no? And we've agreed to this format for the FIO. All right. Any questions? Yes, Dawn. Go ahead.
Hi, sir. So the last time we can have a consultation with you po is on April 27 lang.
No. That's for homework 2. Sorry. That's for homework.
Okay.
So again, I have my usual consultation hours after class, but you have to make schedule, no? Or Fridays 3 to 5. So
Okay,
those are my normal, Tapos, I will convert the last lecture. Let me check quickly lang, ha. I will convert, kasi you have the study days, no? I will still have class, no? Again, it's purely optional. I will convert May 18, tama ba? Yeah, May 18 as an Ask Me Anything. I'll just be online for the first hour, no? Or first 2 hours. No? So I'll just be online. If someone wants to just pop in and out, no, and you have questions, for example, on the FIO or anything, you can feel free. So up to May 18 if you want. No? But other than that, pwede rin yung aking normal consultation hours, no? Which is after class and then Fridays 3 to 5.
Okay po. Sir, question lang po for the homework 2 consultation. In case we're not free po on a Wednesday, can we use the consultation schedule po on Friday?
No, because because again, this is supposed to be your class time, di ba? So parang
Yes, sir.
Oh, so parang again, I'm not expecting the entire group to be present, no? Pero I expect that you guys are available kasi this is our class time, di ba? So
Okay,
I will not entertain consultations on homework 2. I can entertain consultations on other things, no, on my Friday schedule. Pero for homework 2, yun lang. Kasi again, I expect that the 6 to 9, no, in a sense, or 6 to 8, no, to be reserved for for this class, no. So parang wala sigurong hindi siguro excusable that people are not available. But again, if you want to consult, it doesn't have to be the entire group.
Yeah. Got it po. Thank you, sir.
All right. Sige. Okay, so let's move on, no? So the last topic, no, it's a short topic, no, and I really, especially for you guys, you're both management and economic students. Ako, MECO din ako, di ba? Many of us will go to the corporate world or will try to have to set up our own business, etc. So I really always include this, no, in all of my classes. No? I had management classes last semester. No? I have eco students. I always include this topic because I really want to try to inspire you guys to change your mindset that the corporate world or capitalism can be a force for good. Because usually, when we think about development, solving poverty, etc., ay de, gobyerno yan or NGOs yan. But I argue, no, actually everyone has a role. And I would argue more that corporations, businesses, because they make a profit, no, and they specialize in things, no, they have more resources and sometimes they're better positioned to actually solve development challenges in a more sustainable manner. So I will emphasize the sustainability aspect later on. especially when I try to differentiate between shared value and which is the essence of this piece, no, versus the traditional philanthropic CSR, no, corporate social responsibility. So, and we'll have more examples here. No? But first, take 7 or 8 minutes, no, to, and let me wait lang, ha? I need to ano this. Wait. I need to share this with you guys. I'll stop share. Oops. I'll stop sharing for now. I'll share the link in the chat box. Wait lang, ha? Sorry for being clunky. All right. I'll share the link in the chat box. Wait lang, it's loading. I should have copied the link earlier. Wait, my computer's not. Oh, wait. Dali lang. Okay, ito. So take 7 minutes and read this article. 7, 8 minutes. And we'll discuss it after. Sige. Okay. Wait lang ha. Let me share my screen again. Okay. So I hope most of you are done or about to be finished. What are your takeaways? Tell me, guys. What did you learn? What did you agree with? Or maybe disagree? Feel free to disagree as well. Go ahead. Any thoughts or key takeaways? Feel free to disagree. Again, Ateneo teaches you to do critical thinking. So you can disagree or have some different opinions. No? Of course, based on thoughtful um, analysis. What are your takeaways? No takeaways? Anyone? Quiet bunch tonight. Usually you guys are a bit participative. Even one or two lang. Go ahead, Miguel.
Hi, sir. So, yung takeaway ko po is, agree naman po ko dun na we can't rely on the government lang when it comes to development. Parang kailangan po kumapit sa capitalism. Because, di ba po, like, you can look at it in a way na in one of the discussion boards, the national budget is a percentage of the GDP, and for countries like the Philippines, napakalaking ambag ng capitalism sa GDP. So, yun po.
That's a good point, no? I mean, and if you think about it, again, one of my criticisms in some or many papers, the CBMS homework, no, some people mention, the local government should give jobs. No, actually, job generation and the majority of economic activity that's done by the private sector. So that in itself, inherently, no, they account for the larger share of GDP. No, that in itself means that they have a role to play. Obviously, that's a good point. Francis.
Sir, my key takeaway po dito is that capitalism and businesses, whether small or large, can really contribute to a development of a specific area, or if not the specific if not a specific industry. Kasi po nanonotice ko po na usually hindi lang po dito po sa article, but yun nga po meron pong competition. Like for example, yung dito po sa yung what happened with Tito Telecom's entry, tapos medyo na force po yung Globe and Smart to improve their services, to improve their internet speed kasi meron pong competition. So yun po yung parang hindi po natin makikita sa isang statist society or sa isang sistema na focus on government to provide resources. Kasi po if meron pong capitalism, parang napo-force po yung mga private sector to compete with each other, and through this competition, parang napo-force din po sila to improve in order to edge out their competitor. Kasi mas pipiliin po ng mga consumer or if not ng mga ibang businesses na naghahanap ng goods or ng services yung parang much efficient, much faster, much cheaper. And because of that, nagkakaroon ng ripple effect. So nagkakahawaan parang, uy, ito mas efficient sa atin. Dapat gawin rin natin mas efficient yung services natin. So yung efficiency na yun, yung improvement na yun, it does better. It have also good effect, especially on our society. Kasi may mga nabibigyan ng trabaho din, may mga mas mabilis na abot yung mga resources, yung mga services.
You raise good points, no? Kasi yun nga, it's not, what you're saying actually is basically capitalism can be a force for good, but it's not automatic, no? Especially kung let's say monopoly yan or konti lang, no, like let's say Globe and Smart, no, kasi magiging ano lang yan, magiging kampante lang that they don't have competition. So fostering competition and really setting the rules so that people, businesses compete can actually provide better service, better outcomes, no? And dati, no, kaya nga, and again, your point about state providing things versus private sector, I grew up, kasi ako, I'm lucky, no, Gen X pa kami sort of, no? I grew up pre-digital world, no? So landline pa yan before. Nabot ako yung landline, then nabutan ko rin yung early start of the internet. So at least I was I caught both worlds, no, in a sense, no? Yung PLDT dati, which was government run, talagang my neighbors waited for 10 years before they were able to get a landline. So ganon, no? Ngayon, with competition and the private sector does it, mas efficient. So pwede, no? I saw Dawn, then Karina, and then Anika, and then Sofia as well. Sige, yun na muna. Sige. Dawn, Karina, Anika, and Sofia. Sige, yun na muna.
I see. I do agree with some points because I feel like parang hindi siya 100% lang naman. I feel like it doesn't have to be like 0 and 100 decision between yung capitalism and then static.
Sorry, Dawn, if you can speak up a bit louder lang. Konti lang.
So can I fix my mic first and then
Sure.
can
Sige.
someone else can go first?
Sige.
Thank you.
Maybe si Karina first. Okay, before Dawn again.
Okay, good evening, sir. I think my main takeaway is, like, after reading the article, I realized that capitalism isn't so bad, because my initial thought about capitalism is that it's bad. It takes advantage of people. But after reading this, I do agree that there are certain industries, such as, let's say, the agricultural industry and education, that could use more like push in a way. And I think that capitalism would do that. Like, it would promote healthy competition. Similar to what Francis said, like about Globe and Smart, I think that, if there is capitalism, you're able to provide, like, I suppose, like, for like in the agricultural aspect, like these farmers, you're providing them with like more opportunities, like they have that push. So yeah, like that's basically it. Like, I realized that capitalism isn't so bad, or isn't just negative.
Yeah, you're right. No, kasi ako, no, when I was your age, no, college, talagang corporate world, that's evil. No? So I had a complete mindset. But again, the caveat there is not automatic. No, you also have horror stories, no, corporates really abusing labor laws, etc. No, slave labor in some aspects. No, but it can be, no, and it should be, no, if done the right way. No. Don, are you ready na ba?
Hi, sir. Is it clear na po?
Sige.
I guess bouncing off of, I think it was Karina's point. I think yung sa negative side of going completely naman with capitalism is that there has to be programs and policies backing into it to make sure that the resources distributed to the people are being used na kaya nilang i-grow. Kasi ang problem if we go 100% that route, yung sa capitalism for social good na route, with very little government intervention, is what if hindi pala alam ng mga tao paano i-handle yung resources, paano siya i-grow, and paano siya gamitin, or what if they don't want to use it at all. So kailangan meron pa rin mga programs or policies to ensure na, okay, it's distributed to them. How do we ensure na kaya nilang i-grow or they're able to make something out of it? So ayun lang po sir. I feel like it shouldn't be a decision na parang 100% or parang yes or no tayo with that kind of capitalism. Maybe dapat may balance pa rin ng may government intervention po.
You're right. You're right. No? So, and if you go back to module 3, no, when we talked about the paradigms, that's why I proposed the middle ground, no, social democracy, no, because they're also hindi pwedeng just laissez-faire, just letting a capitalist run wild, no. You still have to have some government interventions to make sure that they don't abuse, no, they don't overextend, no. Yeah, so yun, that's an important point as well, no. Thanks for that. Anika, Sofia, then Jobel. Okay, then we'll close muna. Sige, Anika.
Hi, sir. So I agree naman with the points previously mentioned, but then just to add, I noticed lang na, yun nga, for it to work in the Philippines, there has to be a lot of reevaluation of laws and programs that the government currently pushes. And right now, parang it also discussed a lot of parang investment barriers na we also previously discussed in other modules. So with that din po, parang the point of the article also is saying na parang rather than the government finding profit in, let's say, the log industry, they're totally banning it. They're totally creating bans that like the total log ban, total open pit mining, rather than creating protocols or laws that are risk adjusted to be able to curb the abuses of, let's say, capitalism. So parang the article is pointing out na rather than the government finding an opportunity, it's killing the opportunity or totally disregarding the opportunity in itself already.
Yeah, that's a good point, no? Kasi sometimes, no, there are 2 points that you made there. One is just opening up, no, that in itself, no, is good, no. Competition is good, no. The problem kasi nga is there's no competition. Sometimes there's a few who benefit from it, and there becomes collusion now with the powers that be, no. In political economy, there's a strand of economics called political economy that examines the dynamics between politicians and the wealthy families, no. Ang problema, if wealth is concentrated on just a few families, yun, magkakaroon ng tendency to collude with the corrupt officials, no. So the more that you can open up, etc., no, the better, no. So your second point really is all about making sure that you don't kill opportunities. So there's room for government intervention, pero yung sakto lang, don't overreach, no. Governments around the world, not just the Philippines, are notorious for overreach, no, sometimes to the detriment of kasi that's jobs, additional investment, foreign or local, those are jobs. Anong problema naman ng common tao here is jobs, diba? So yeah, that's a very good point. Sophia, then Jubel.
For me naman, sir, I agree with everything my classmates said, but I wanted to add how the article mentioned agriculture and other sectors that presidential candidates usually like say that they're gonna increase the budget for agriculture, or they're gonna ban the rice and pork imports. Pork imports. I realized that most of the time they don't really work. So I thought that capitalism, like if private businesses step up and actually contribute to the productivity of these sectors, through capitalism, instead of depending on the government, I think it would be more effective. Yeah, that's all for me.
Yeah, it generally is, kasi yun nga, no, sometimes government, especially when they write the rules and ban more trading to happen, for example, rice, no, mas nagkakaroon ng corruption, smuggling, inefficiencies, etc., at the expense of the consumers, for example. So dapat yung rules medyo facilitative rather than hindering, no? And yun nga, I mean, agribusiness is the way to go in terms of agriculture. Kasi again, as we discussed before, it's the value chain approach, di ba? You really make money when it's a business rather than crops lang. Jobel, last point. Thanks for all of your points. Sige, Jobel, go ahead.
Hi, sir. I actually agree with everyone's points naman po. Just to add, I think my point refers to like expanding our perception on capitalism as a whole. Kasi po dito nasabi rin um, how we perceive capitalism in the Philippines is clouded by what we usually see, such as crony capitalism and rent seeking po. But I think as mentioned here, there's opportunity to harness it. And I think part of that would be developing the perception and the knowledge po that capitalism is not limited to these things, and it's also not limited to yung mga pampapogi na CSR initiatives din po. It's important for us to, like it was mentioned in the module, to work towards creating shared value, investing in the communities and the people as well, to, not just have a great face for that specific company, but to expand, like maximize profit, but also, uplift these community members and community partners as well po.
Good thing I called you last because that's a good segue to our to our actual lesson. No? And really, no, I include this module, no, this last part of module 4, no, in all my classes because again, I want to inspire you guys, no, that the old mindset, and I was guilty of that myself, no. And the corporate world is evil. I will stay away as much as I can. No? Pero hindi, if you think about it, it can be and should be a force for good. Na ano lang tayo, na brainwash lang tayo because of what we see in the news, no? Na ito, nag-abuse, Wall Street is this, that, no? So, iba yon, no? There are bad apples. So, I always want to include this because I want to inspire you guys because don't worry, no? Don't think of yourselves as traitors when you go to the corporate world. No, but rather make a mark and then use business. I think majority of you will enter into or set up your own businesses or enter the corporate world. Use that to solve development challenges. So I want this. If there's one module that you will remember in SOCSI 13, it's this. Please, no, as you embark on your careers. So yun, just to summarize, and thanks for all the active inputs. No, I knew it. It only took one guy to break the ice, and then yan lahat gusto na magsalita. No? Yeah, the problem is we make it, the rules, no, make it difficult for capitalism to flourish. No, the problem is, and that kind of limits the wealth, no, and that kind of creates a symbiotic collusion between, no, the oligarchs. Kaya nga may term na oligarchs eh. Kasi money is made by only a few. Sa Philippines, sabi nila 40 families control the bulk of the economic assets of the country, no? Which is true. No, there are abuses and excesses, pero yun nga, it's a function of rules, no, or lack of rules or overreaching rules. No? So is greed good? Ito na lang, let's end here. Is greed good? Yes, if it can be channeled. No? Greed meaning profit or mindset of businesses. No? If it can be channeled in the right way. But again, it's not calling for laissez-faire, no? For unbridled capitalism. No? You need rules still, no? To make sure that markets don't run wild. Again, going back to module 3. So as Jobel was saying, no, in the module, and thanks for already covering shared value sub-module or part. No? The TED Talk that Michael Porter, no, I like stealing screenshots from from their talks. No? So if you, itong maganda sa academe and even development world, no, we like coming up with jargons or catchy buzzwords. No? Yung mga corporate social responsibility, that was a buzzword. No? Ano pa ba? The SSE, that's also a buzzword. So donut economics, that's a fancy term to be remembered. No? But if you scratch beneath the surface, and Michael Porter himself summarized what it meant, no? It's basically addressing a social issue with the business model. It's not throwing money and donating money, no, business donating money. No, it's actually, as you are making money, no, you're addressing a social issue. It's a business model, an enterprise profit-oriented model. Pero bakit shared value? There's merit naman to the term. No? Bakit siya shared? No? Kasi in the classical paradigm, no, the old mentality of the corporation, the purpose of the corporation is to maximize profit for its shareholders. So it's within the family of shareholders. No? Shared value kasi is no, by the business operating and creating profits, because it is addressing a social issue, the value goes beyond the family, the shareholders, and the corporation. The benefits, the value also spills over to others beyond, let's say, the company. Kasi nga, it's addressing a social issue. Kaya shared value, sharing the benefits of your enterprise-driven operations. That solves social issues. But of course, not all businesses are creating shared value. But we'll examine the different ways corporations or companies can actually create shared value. Pero yun, if you don't remember the entire concept, but it's basically addressing a social issue with the business model. That is the essence in a nutshell. There are three ways by which you can, no, according to Porter and his colleague, I forget the name of this. Si Porter kasing sikat eh. Probably in your fourth year, maybe in your third year, no, you probably already covered sa management classes yung Porter's 5 forces model or competitiveness. No? That's Michael Porter. So he said there are three key pathways, no, by which companies can create shared value opportunities. There are three: reconceiving products and markets, redefining productivity in the value chain, and by enabling local cluster development. We'll examine each. All right. Sige. First, no, reconceiving products and markets. No? Kasi in the old days, no, before, no, companies targeted the rich, the affluent. Hey, sila may pera. So yeah, we'll target them. They will buy more because they have more disposable income. Pero that mindset has shifted, especially in the developing world. No? For example, tayo or India, 1 billion people and a huge chunk are poor. No? There's actually what an Indian economist coined this term. There's this phrase. There's actually fortune at the bottom of the pyramid. Meaning, it's reconceiving products and markets. Parang instead of seeing the poor as, I will stay away from them, or the marginalized groups as, walang pera dyan. No, you can make money while trying to cater to their needs or their wants. So, the usual examples here, yung sachet economy, of course, may ano yan eh, the undesired outcome naman eh, yung plastic waste. No? But for example, no, sachet economy, that enables the poor to manage their cash flow. No? Instead of me having to buy a large bar of soap or, shampoo, a large bottle of shampoo, etc., bili na lang ako ng tingi. Diba? That's the sachet economy, sari-sari store, even sigarilyo. No? And my wife, no, I didn't know this before. No, she told me actually yung hair dye, they also sell that in sachets. So everything, no, of course, iba yung wants and needs, no. But that's one example by which you're thinking that no, they are actually a market, no, and you're trying to help them meet their basic needs, no. You can make money at the same time. That's a good example. No? Yung Smart and Globe, no? You load 10 pesos, no, only for today. That's actually helping the digital divide, no? Kaya nga, dati kasi when Globe started, medyo pang elite, di ba? Text, mayaman, ganon, 0917. But yung prepaid, no, started, no? And they're making a killing with those 5-10 peso top-ups, no, with those load, no? That's addressing both a need to be connected, but at the same time, it's making money for them. Oh, your turn. Example naman of reconceiving products and markets. If you can come up with examples, kahit isa lang from anyone. shifting na ano, the underserved market, that can be a market, no, addressing their needs. Meron? Miguel, go ahead. Miguelito.
Hi, sir. I can give the example I posted sa discussion board.
Sige, go ahead. Yeah. I saw that some of you posted already. Sige.
So, ang ginawa po ata kasi ng BPI is they noticed that a lot of people parang don't have access to their banking products because parang they view it as parang exclusive to yung mga nasa higher socio-economic classes. So gumawa sila ng parang subsidiary po, parang bank. It's called Banco, and it gives more opportunity, especially in terms of loans para sa lalo na sa MSMEs and sa parang yung mga nagsisimula pa lang na entrepreneurs, yung mga ganun po.
Yeah. And related to that, no, the whole microfinance industry boomed, no? Kasi not just because they wanted to, and Banco, it's not microfinance, pero yun nga, it's catering. We call that financial inclusion, no? Extending financial services to the traditionally unbanked or don't have access to finance. No? Banco is a good example. No? I think they do it more through digital means. No? Before kasi medyo weird nga. No? Ayala owns Globe and then Banco, BPI. No? Pero medyo digital pareha sila ng GCash. No? So they were in a sense competing. No? Kasi mas digital yung kanilang style. No? So same with GCash, no? In all of these fintechs, no? They're trying to provide money to the unbanked or underserved, no? Pero they're making money. No? Microfinance is a good example again. No? Parang the concept of the sachet economy as well. No? They're still making money. And we'll learn later on. No? That's better because it's more sustainable. Hindi lang yung bigay tapos ubos na. Thank you for that. No? And that reminded me of that entire financial industry. Right now, no, ang galing because of the digital innovations, no, you see a lot of fintechs now, no, GCash, Paymaya, and there's more, no, and digital banks, no. And previously, no, dati kasi yun nga, BPI ini-snub lang. Ngayon, na they're catering to the more risky borrowers, etc. No? Second, pathway to shared value opportunities. And that's a good example, by the way, Miguel. Redefining productivity in the value chain. So ito, we studied value chain and supply chains before, no? Kasi value chain kasi is you convert the product into, may relationship naman yung value chain and supply chain. Kasi supply chain is just moving products to the end market, to the final consumer. Yung value chain kasi, it also rides on a supply chain, pero the product changes as it moves to different phases. For example, cacao bean, nagiging ano. But it still needs a supply chain to reach the end market. So that's the value chain. So ito, for example, no, yung Amazon, yung supplier, logistics, for example, no, or input suppliers. No? So on the packaging, for example, Amazon and all of these packaging companies now, no, they've started using recycled material, no, for their boxes, no, thinner, no, boxes, no, pero effective pa rin. Not just doing good, they're solving pollution on the one hand, but they're also making more money. Kasi di ba, there are two ways of maximizing profit. You maximize sales and or you minimize costs. So they're saving on costs. Therefore, they're maximizing profit. So that's one, for example. Ito, yung example natin sa Auro, I think that's the beginning of Module 4. No? I have another example, na I used this in my previous classes, yung Kennymer. No? And kami sa USAID, we have engaged with them before. No? So Kennymer Foods, no, they don't really brand themselves kasi parang buyer, ano lang sila, parang sourcing company. No? So what they do is they source from the Philippines and around Asia cacao beans. No? good quality cacao beans that they sell to Mars. Alam niyo naman yung Mars Chocolate Company, they produce M&M's yata, no? And etc. No? Many types of candy, no? Candies and chocolates. No? So they're working with farmers. No? They gather farmers, cooperatives, etc. They train them, help them to shift to a high value crop, which is cacao. No? They train them. They provide some long-term or short-term financing to them. No? But in exchange, no, they buy the beans, good quality beans, teach them good quality. And they're making money by selling to Mars. So it's not purely doing good. Yes, I want to help farmers, but at the same time, I also want to sustain the supply. I want to expand my sourcing. So it's a win-win. No? Good for the farmers, additional income, better income kasi cacao is a high-value crop, for example. And then on the distribution chain channels, no, kita nyo naman to, karinderya or mga sari-sari store, no, Pepsi, Coke, San Miguel, they will for free. They will, but it's not really for free, no. They will make or provide money to make the signboards, for example, yung mga light, or give out refrigerators, for example. So that's helping MSMEs, but at the same time, it's ensuring their supply chain, no? Their distribution channels. No? They can sell more. No? During the pandemic, Coke went to us. No? We partnered with Coke. Coke wanted to provide mga acrylic barriers to the sari-sari stores, no? And train them on good COVID prevention practices. No? Not just purely out of goodwill, no? Pero win-win yun kasi they're helping the SMEs, the micro enterprises, sari-sari stores, but they're ensuring that their goods are still sold or properly sold. So yun. So, your example naman from you guys. Just one. Joshua, go ahead.
Sir, I guess similar to the example you gave earlier about how companies change their packaging. Like for example, the company of Coke, they started using 100% recycled plastic in their bottles. So I guess that's an example of how they redefine the value chain.
And more often than not, I mean, that's cheaper. No? The company will not, 99% they will not shift to that if it's not cheaper. So it's addressing pollution and waste, but at the same time, they're saving costs. Diba? Kita nyo yung sa hotel, no? Although yung mga hotels mas self-interest yun yung, please don't replace your towel. No? We will not replace your towel if you don't put it on the floor, etc. Diba? So they're saving on costs, no? While saving water, for example. Ito, I saw this during the pandemic, just quickly. No? Natuwa ako dito. I didn't know you can do this. No? Pero totoo naman, no? Plastic actually comes from oil, from fuel. No? So San Miguel was getting the plastic wastes. No? It solves waste kasi this is becoming a global phenomenon. No? Ocean plastics, we call them. No? Oceans and then everywhere. No? They're using it as fuel. So ito, they're making money by saving on costs as well here. Cool lang, nakita ko yung okay ito. And San Miguel is not just, doing good. They're also a business. Vaccines is another thing, no? Except for Sputnik, no, all of these vaccine manufacturers are private sector. So two things here, no? Again, you can combine good outcomes, societal outcomes, with the profit-oriented. Pfizer, Moderna, they're making a killing, no? But they're addressing a social good at the same time. No? But the good point here also is, without government incentives, no, Pfizer and Moderna could not have manufactured this in such a short amount of time. Kasi government, the previous administration, Trump administration, they provided a lot of incentives, no, grants, ganon. Whoever comes up with the first, will give you R&D money, etc. So kumagat sila and boom. So that's another example of, it's not just the private sector that does it, but government can nudge them and provide the rules or the incentives to facilitate that. So maganda yung ang lesson ng vaccines is that, no, the good relationship between government and providing the right incentives. Ito, enabling local cluster development. This is a bit more complex, no, but just to try to explain it to you guys, no. So what is a cluster first, no? So a cluster is ito, examples muna tayo para ma-gets nyo kaagad. So Philippines, for example, Marikina is, most of you, or at least half yata, or most of you chose Marikina City, no, for the CBMS paper, no. So Marikina was known for shoes, no. Zamboanga is known for sardines. 10 of the 11 canning factories are there. Cebu is known for a lot of things: guitars, fish, dried mangoes, bananas in Davao, no, lechon in La Loma, bulalo in Tagaytay. No wonder I'm getting fat, because all of these mostly are, except guitars, are food, no, and shoes, no. So yun, that's a cluster. It's an area known to specialize in something, and they become popular because of the quality of what they produce, no, in that area. Marami pa. Sa Bataan, for example, yung tinapa. Anyway, so in a cluster, no, it's not just the final products that are there. No? The good thing with the cluster, and that's why DTI for the longest time was trying to push for cluster development in the country, kasi it makes sense. Why? Because ito, no, this is a chart, no, that comes from from illustrating the cluster dynamics in a town in Brazil, no, Cariri, no, region in Brazil. No. This is from a publication from the World Bank, no, which I was a part of before. No. Pero kunyari, Marikina na lang to. No. So shoes, for example, or sandals, whatnot. You have the shoes here, no. The lead products, no, shoes, and those companies that do them. No. But you have a lot of sub-industries. No. You have, of course, the components. Kasi parang cooking yan, you need ingredients or the parts. No. So you need the components there, the leather, the chemical products, the ornaments, etc. And you also need the sewing machines, the whatever other kinds, the molders, etc., etc. And other services, no, suppliers, no, packing, printing, textiles, no, and then more and more, logistics, labs, design work, machine, no. So the good thing with the cluster, no, if you're able to develop a cluster, ang daming sub-industries, lakas ng economic activity, many jobs. So yun, ang ganda ng cluster development. So one additional pathway for shared value opportunities is to enable local cluster development, meaning there is an emerging cluster, they're beginning to specialize in something, no? You're a company or you're a government, no? You look, saan ba may gaps? Maybe dito, kulang dyan. Maybe you can help facilitate. And an example is Nespresso. So you guys are familiar with Nespresso. No? Good coffee, but too expensive in my opinion for daily use. No? My brother-in-law has one. Masarap. Masarap talaga. But yeah. So Nespresso, no? The lead products are the beans in aluminum cups and then the machines. No? Mahal yan. No? And you have the same setup here. No? You have component suppliers, equipment suppliers, etc. So it's also area-based, no, where Nestle is located, no, or the different areas that they're located. No. So what Nestle did, no, to support Nespresso, no, they actually built mga the other industries, no. And they also work with farmers, no. Yung farmers, of course, nakinabang because they have guaranteed buyers, no. They're learning good practices, etc., etc. They're getting financed, no. And then they set up facilities, and they're certifying it with etc., etc., sustainable practices. So win-win for many actors. No? The thing with local clusters, of course, you'll need to be a big company, of course, to be able to really affect this. So usually ito yung mga big ones like Nestle. So that's the caveat. If you're a small company, medyo dito ka as a beneficiary of a cluster, but not the one helping strengthen the cluster. So ito medyo pang advanced companies. But if you're gonna work, let's say, with the likes of P&G, and whatnot, no, Unilever, no, ito kaya nila. for particular areas. And clusters make sense kasi nga, the kind of economic activity you can build, the number of jobs you can create, malakas ang potential spillover. So just moving forward, no, again, we've implied this already, no, some of you have sort of mentioned this, no. I'm not saying philanthropy is bad. No? And again, I don't mean to criticize, no. It's actually a laudable effort, the community pantries. It's not business, no, pero that's my analogy, no. Philanthropy kasi the inherent weakness, and it's not bad, it's just a weakness, is eventually it will not be sustained. Diba? You had Maginhawa Community Pantry and then nag-sprout yan. But ngayon, halos wala na masyado because that's the inherent weakness. Again, it's not a criticism, it's just what it is. Eventually, if it's just reliant on philanthropy, on dole out, mauubos din. Kaya nga, we're Michael Porter and us, when we talk about the development workers, when we talk about private sector engagement, it's not CSR na dapat. It's not, let's say, a foundation, a Jollibee Foundation, building a school building and putting their name on it. Sometimes medyo greedy pa nga yun kasi advertising lang. We'll provide classrooms pero yung logo namin nandun. Pero the problem with that is, it's not sustainable. Pag ubos na yung aking philanthropic money, that's it. But if it's tied to your business operations, you keep doing it, you generate profit, then you can continue doing it. Diba? Or everything that we discussed, all the examples, Kennymer, for example, they keep selling to Mars, they need more cacao inputs, no? They continue to help the farmers. No? So ganon. Kasi ano yun eh, when it's part of the business operations, of the profit operations, then you can continue doing it kasi it's making money for you. That's the advantage. No? Of course, let's say for short-term things like relief operations during typhoons, no, this has a strong role. No? Pero for the long-term development, no. What private sector should do, no, especially those who can afford it, you integrate. No? Kaya nga nauso ngayon, no, if you're interested, no, read up more on social enterprises. No? It's not just tangentially addressing societal needs, no, pero the reason for their existence is to address social needs, but they want an enterprise behind it. So that's CSV, no, creating shared value. Mas sustainable siya. On Canvas, I also included a link to a publication. No? The former Deputy Secretary General of the UNDP, no? Si United Nations Development Program, si Mark Malloch Brown, they came out, he gathered a group, no? So they came out with a Better Business Commission or something. No? They had a publication a few years back. No? Parang they identified, you can solve the SDGs, the global goals, no? At the same time make money. So affordable housing, for example, no? There's money to be made, electric vehicles, no, to reduce climate change, no. So spend some time, no, be inspired. No? There are many things, no. Urban agriculture, no, shared infrastructure, telehealth, for example. No? So a lot of these things you're making money, but you're also helping achieve the SDGs. So pwede. So if you want more inspiration, no, they identified 60 things, no, in that annex or may exhibit sila. No? Read up mo so you can be more exposed to, pwede pala to. No? It's a win-win. No? And profit is not bad. Just don't be too greedy. Yun lang naman yung lesson dyan. At the expense of, of human rights, etc. etc. And finally, some of you have started doing it already, and thanks, I saw that, no? Thanks to those. No? I want you to provide, a company that seeks to create shared value. Do not give me a CSR example, the traditional CSR. No? But, even the CSR types, no, are now moving away, doing more shared value types. No? So just summarize what they're doing, why is it shared value, and identify what pathway, reconceiving products and markets ba, value chain approach, or the cluster development. And just link it gusto ko palaging full circle, link it to the beginning of Module 4. Identify what outcomes are aligned to the PDP overall framework, which we discussed already at the start of Module 4. And that ends tonight's class. Any questions? No questions. Gutom na kayo, probably. All right. Anyway, if you have questions, again, you can email me. I have my consultation hours. So next week, I'll see you guys April 27. No, sign up if you like. If not, I will not take it against you. I only see one group so far kanina, no, before class. I don't know. Maybe some of you already signed up during class. I can also accommodate all, so no worries. Okay. So I hope you guys, thanks for joining again. I like that it's a bigger group. Thank you. I hope you were reinvigorated during the break. No? So thank you. Have a good dinner. Have a good evening as well. See you guys next week.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.